Hi.
Hi. I'm just waiting for my boyfriend. He's a policeman. He'll be here any minute now.
I'm sorry, do I make you nervous?
Why would you ask that?
Volunteering all that information about waiting for your boyfriend and the policeman.
Just saying.
Something tells me you're not really waiting for your boyfriend and that he's not a policeman.
What makes you say that?
Sounds to me like you might think I was a mugger or a rapist or something.
Don't be silly. You're not, are you?
What, a mugger or a rapist?
Or something.
Something.
Someone who might mean me harm.
Do I look like I mean you harm?
I don't know.
If I was a mugger or a rapist, would I be standing here talking to you?
You could just be trying to lull me into a false sense of security.
I don't think that's what rapists and muggers do. As far as I'm aware, they don't start with conversation as a rule, they just get on with their mugging and raping.
You could just be waiting to make sure the coast is clear.
Well, the coast seems pretty clear right now. You don't see me mugging and raping, now do you?
Well, I'm glad about that, I suppose.
But I still make you nervous.
What are you doing here, anyway?
Same as you, probably. Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Probably the same thing you're waiting for.
And what's that?
You mean you don't know what you're waiting for?
Of course I know what I'm waiting for.
Oh, well then what is it?
I'm sorry, I don't give that kind of information to strangers.
Oh, well, my name's Gregory. I live at 47 Mulberry Avenue.
I didn't ask you for that information.
I was just trying to become less of a stranger so that you talk to me more freely.
Well, I don't really feel like talking.
Are you one of those antisocial types?
No, I just don't like talking to strangers.
Well, I told you who I am. Would you like me to prove it? Look, here's my driver's license.
I don't need to see it.
So you believe me? You believe I am who I say I am?
I suppose so.
So do you trust me now? Do you believe now I'm not out to mug or rape you or cause you any harm?
Maybe.
Well, I told you my name. Perhaps you'll tell me yours.
I'd rather not.
Why not?
How do I know you're not trying to steal my identity?
It's not as easy as that.
What isn't?
Stealing your identity.
How would you know? Have you tried it?
No, of course not. Anyway, if it was so easy, I wouldn't have given you my name and address now, would I?
I don't know.
I mean, how do I know you're not trying to steal my identity?
If I was trying to steal your identity, I would have asked you who you were.
I already told you that.
Well, no one asked you.
I was just trying to be more friendly, to ease your concerns, and to show you that I wasn't a rapist or a mugger.
Hey. So if I join you, I'm not interrupting anything.
No, you're not interrupting anything.
Were you sent here?
Yeah, you?
Who sent you?
Probably the same people who sent you.
Who?
You mean you don't know who sent you?
Of course I never sent you.
So tell me.
I asked first.
I have a feeling neither of you knows who sent you.
Do you know?
Do I know who sent you? No, how would I know?
No, I'm asking if you know who sent you.
Of course, I don't know. That's what I'm waiting to find out.
Me too.
Me three.
Is that all you're waiting for, to find out who sent you?
And why? What about you?
Same reason.
Me too.
So none of us know who or why.
Guess not.
Then what are we doing here?
That's what I'm hoping to find out.
Me too.
Ditto.
I mean, what if we're hanging around here for nothing? What if we never find out?
Don't say that. We've got to find out.
What?
Well, otherwise, what's the point?
Point of what?
Of everything.
That's a big question.
Yes, it is. And that's why we're here, isn't it? To find out the answer. I'm going to go take a look around and see if I can find anything else out about this place.
Could I ask you a favor?
Hey, you can always ask.
Could you not leave me alone with that guy?
You don't like him?
He just gives me the creeps. When he showed up earlier, he went out of his way to assure me he wasn't a raper or a mugger. You know what they say about people who protest too much?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why you'd be worried. But how do you know I'm not a mugger or a rapist?
Well, you're not, are you?
No.
See, I knew I could trust you.
Yeah, but you only have my word for it.
That's enough for me. My name's Alice, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Alice. I'm Michael. Say, don't I know you from somewhere?
Can't imagine where.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen you somewhere before.
I don't think so.
Maybe it was in a premonition. Like a dream telling me we were destined to meet. You ever dream something and then find it happening in real life?
I'm not sure. I don't generally remember my dreams.
Well, some people say people who don't remember their dreams are people who are too afraid to remember their dreams.
Do you always remember your dreams?
Usually. I mean, like I said, I think so. Who knows what goes on in our minds when we were asleep?
You say you had a dream about me?
Yes. I'm sure of it now.
What do you remember?
Your face. You looked frightened.
Do you know why?
I can't say for sure. Your eyes, they were wide with terror. You were trying to scream, but no sound would come out. You know, come to think of it.
What?
No, I don't want to alarm you.
I'll be more alarmed if you don't tell me. Come on, what was it?
Okay, if you insist. I think you were in a coffin. I think you'd been buried alive.
Oh my god. I've always been claustrophobic. It's my worst nightmare to be buried alive.
I thought so.
You did? Why?
I just sensed it.
Do you think it might be a premonition of something that might actually happen?
Who knows? I can tell you one thing though.
What?
You really should keep fears like that to yourself. I mean, information like that, it tends to attract people who, I don't know, they enjoy inflicting terror on unsuspecting victims.
You might be right.
Oh, I know I'm right.
So please keep that information to yourself.
You can count on me. Believe me. Your secret is safe.
What are you doing?
Just trying to get a closer look at you.
Why?
Just to make sure
Sure of what?
that you are the person that I saw in my vision.
Please don't come too close.
Are you afraid of me?
Like I said, I'm claustrophobic. I don't like people coming too close.
Am I making you nervous?
No. A little.
Now, is that good or bad?
What are you talking about?
Sometimes a little nervousness can be a good thing. A little tingle up the spine can just make life that little bit more exciting. Living on the edge of danger, feasting with panthers, Oscar Wilde called it. Many women love it. That's why so many are attracted to bad boys. So tell me, is that what you're experiencing? A little frisson of fear?
My boyfriend will be here soon. He's a policeman.
Now something tells me you're making that up.
Why would I be making that up?
If you are afraid of me.
No. Keep away from me.
Your fear is tangible. I can smell it. You're like a wounded animal that gives off a scent attracting predators and scavengers of the wild.
Now you are scary.
Yeah, but isn't that what you want? Aren't you a victim looking for a predator?
No, of course not.
Yeah, I think you are.
You're
Some
crazy.
people are born victims. The minute I set eyes on you, I thought, she is one. You want to be victimized. You yearn for it. I can smell it.
You're crazy. Leave me alone.
Come on. I'm an obliging kind of guy. You can open up to me. If you want me to victimize you, I'm more than willing to do it.
I do not want you to victimize me.
Well, of course you're bound to say that. You can't live out your fantasy if you actually ask for it. Right? See, I know that you are.
I'm not playing any game.
No, you're not, are you? You actually want me to terrorize you and bury you alive, don't you? Come on, admit it.
Hey, what's going on here?
Alex and I are just getting acquainted.
Oh, so that's your name. So you tell this guy your name, but not me. I find that a little hurtful, Alice.
Oh, well, she didn't trust you. That's why.
You just made me nervous with all your talk of raping and mugging, that's all.
Well, what's going on with you two? It looked to me like you were making sexual advances.
Like I said, we were just getting acquainted.
Is that all?
Probably. I don't know. We didn't get that far. You interrupted our conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like me to go?
No. Stay. I think the three of us can have some fun together.
What kind of fun?
I was just thinking, while we're standing around here waiting to figure out where we are and who sent us, we could have a little fun playing a variation of the game Clue. Do you know Clue?
Everyone knows Clue. Do you have the board with you, the game and everything?
No. It's a variation of the game. We don't need the board and all that other stuff.
So how do you play?
Okay, so we have to find out which one of us is the murderer, which is the innocent bystander or collaborator, and which is the victim.
I don't think I want to play this game.
Oh, of course you do, and you've already elected yourself the victim.
Has she?
Of course, can't you tell?
Well,
She is a born victim.
Earlier, she suspected me of wanting to mug and rape her.
There you are. You see, that was wishful thinking on her part. She probably wanted you to do it.
Really? You think so?
Couldn't you sense it?
No, maybe I'm not as sensitive as you.
Oh, I sensed it right away. You know what she wanted me to do with her?
No, what?
She wanted me to terrorize her and bury her alive in a coffin.
I never said that.
You didn't have to. It was obvious.
I think it was just wishful thinking on your part. I think you're just a sadistic murderer who's trying to project his sordid fantasies onto other people.
I've never murdered anyone in my life.
Well, I wouldn't believe a word you say. Even if you haven't murdered anyone, I bet you've thought about it.
Okay, so thinking isn't the same as doing. Besides, are you trying to tell me you've never thought about killing someone?
Try not to.
Ah, you try, but sometimes you can't help it.
Well, sometimes, like in traffic.
Aha, road rage.
We've all been there.
It's just other drivers that can be so rude and inconsiderate. Sometimes, when some jerk cuts me off, I just want to crash my car into theirs, even though I know it would kill us all. I just get so blinded with anger when it happens.
Not a very clever strategy.
And a little self-defeating.
Unless you're a terrorist on a suicide mission.
I never went that far.
Yeah, but it sounds like you came pretty
The
close.
fact is, I stopped myself.
I used to have dreams about murdering someone.
Really? Who did you dream you murdered?
For a while, I wasn't sure. I would just have these dreams where I remembered burying someone in my backyard. They started when I was a teenager. I would wake up convinced I had actually killed someone, and it was only a matter of time before they found the body and I'd be arrested for murder.
So did you ever go into the backyard and check for buried bodies?
No, because by the time I started having these dreams, we were no longer living in the same house.
So if you had murdered someone, it couldn't have been in that house.
So you haven't killed anyone.
But the thing is, I did kill someone when I was young.
Who did you kill?
Myself.
If you had killed yourself, you wouldn't be standing here talking to us.
But it's true. I had to. My father made me do it.
Oh my God. What are you talking about?
My father forced me to kill the child that I once was. That child lies buried in the backyard of the house that I used to live in. The person you see before you today is not the real me.
You're not the real you, then who are you?
I go by a number of different names. Gregory is only one of them. It's the name I was given at birth. It's still the name I use for practical purposes. It's the name on my driver's license and other official documents, but it's not who I am these days. You see, I had to assume a number of different identities to protect myself.
Protect yourself from what?
From my father and people like him.
I don't understand.
You know how some people get new identities with the witness protection program? It's a bit like that, except I have to hide in plain sight. And I need a number of different identities to do that.
And you had to hide from people like your father?
He was very strict. He was one of those people who believed in a very fierce God. A God who would punish you very severely if you did not abide by his will and his teachings. My father felt like he would be neglecting God's will if he didn't punish us very severely for infringement on any of his rules.
Whose rules? His or God's?
To him, they were the same thing.
Tell me, was it really bad when your father punished you? Tell me all about it.
You're sick!
Me? Why?
Wanting to know all the gory details of the way he was punished? You obviously just thrive off of other people's misery and pain.
Nonsense. Again, I'm simply trying to lend a sympathetic ear to somebody who obviously wants to unburden himself of a tragic childhood. You want to tell us about all the terrible things you went through, don't you?
Well...
Yeah, of course you do. So tell us.
If I did anything wrong, or even if he thought I was doing wrong, like having bad thoughts or looking at him in the wrong way...
How would he know if you were having bad thoughts?
I don't know.
What do you mean? Bad thoughts.
Anything that was different from what he wanted me to think.
Like what?
If he thought I wanted to watch television or play with a friend he didn't approve of.
What would make him think you were having those bad thoughts?
I don't know. Sometimes he was right. Sometimes I was having bad thoughts, but often I wasn't. It was very frustrating. I tried to block out all thoughts, but that was impossible, at least at first.
What do you mean at first?
Until I killed Gregory. It was the only way I could hide his thoughts from my father. It was the only way I could protect him, or at least give him some kind of peace.
I've heard of this kind of thing happening.
So tell me, how did your father punish you?
You mean Gregory?
Yeah, okay, whatever.
He would make Gregory get his belt, or fetch a branch from a tree to beat him with. It was very important that Gregory took an active role and asked to be punished for his transgressions. Thank you for trying to make me a better person. That's what Gregory had to say afterwards when his screams and crying eventually stopped.
Wow, that is terrible.
You say that, but I have a feeling you enjoyed it.
You're such a cynic. What made you such a cynic?
Life with people like you, people who have tried to rob me of my good nature and take advantage of my innocence.
Oh. I don't think you were ever innocent. I think you were born with bad thoughts and desires.
That's just your imagination at work. What should we call you if you're no longer Gregory?
Well, it depends.
It depends on what?
On who I happen to be at any given moment. Right now, my identity is that of the Great Protector. He's kind of like a superhero, like Iron Man, indestructible and fierce, but only with those who present a threat.
Okay, so what are we supposed to call you right now? Iron Man?
You can call me Bruce.
Bruce. Okay. That's not much of a name for a superhero like Iron Man, though.
What about Bruce Wayne?
Batman?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so where's your cape and armored suit, Batman?
Don't be facetious, Michael. Can't you see there's a lot of pain and trauma behind this? I'm kind of reminded of this movie I saw called The Three Faces of Eve, about this woman who had multiple personality disorder. And she had these different personalities in different compartments of her head, and none of them knew what the other ones were up to.
That's a myth. First of all, they used to call it multiple personality disorder. But in the end, they discovered that pretty much all of those personalities were not kept separate from each other. They all had a pretty good idea of what the other was doing. These days, they call it dissociative identity disorder.
Who cares? It's all the same to me.
You brought it up.
So, how many different personalities do you have?
I'm not sure. I only know some of them. Well, when I met you earlier, I was Nigel. He's the most passive.
If you were Nigel when you met me, then why did you tell me your name is Gregory?
Because I was trying to prove to you that I wasn't a mugger or a rapist.
What made you think I needed that reassurance?
Well, with so many dangerous and crazy people in the world, you'd be a fool not to be concerned about the possible dangers of being alone with a total stranger in a place like this.
What kind of place do you think this is?
Well, it's a pretty lonely place, as you can see for yourself. I haven't seen anybody else since we came here. In fact, we've been the only 3 people here since we arrived. Have you seen anybody else?
No, just us 3.
4 if you count Nigel.
Put you and Nigel together.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, where exactly is this place?
Well, isn't that a bit of a silly question?
No. Why? And if it's so silly, then it should be easy to answer. So tell me, where exactly are we?
It's pretty obvious, I would have thought. We're here, obviously.
And where is here?
Somewhere. That isn't someplace else. Next you'll be asking where someplace else is, and I'll have to tell you, it's someplace that isn't here.
Okay. How did we get here?
Well, we walked. At least I did. I don't know about you two.
How did you get here?
Took a taxi, I guess.
You guess, you mean you're not sure?
I mean, I'm pretty sure, I think.
You don't sound like you're all that sure.
What does it matter anyway?
Of course it matters. If you don't know how you got here, and you don't know who sent you or why, then it's obvious something pretty strange is going on.
Well, something has obviously brought us here.
Yes, but what?
Well, there must be some connection between us, something we have in common, something that unites us together in being here.
Yeah, you know what? I can't see us having anything in common.
We're human.
Especially,
That's a start.
yeah, that's up for debate. And especially can't see having anything in common with this guy who changes personalities like an actor on speed.
Hey, watch it, pal. You don't want to mess with me. You might just get hurt.
Okay. Okay. Don't get so touchy.
Are either of you guys married?
Not me.
Me neither. It's difficult to maintain a relationship when you keep changing personalities all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I have had some relationships. So has Nigel, but it can be confusing for any girlfriend when they go to bed with me as Bruce and wake up with Nigel. Or even worse, with Cedric.
Who's Cedric?
He's gay.
You have a gay personality as well? So a girl can go to bed with you as a straight guy and wake up in bed next to a gay guy? That must be pretty unsettling for any girl.
Not as unsettling as it is for Cedric. The idea of having sex with a woman is pretty abhorrent to him. And being as sensitive as he is among women in general, you can imagine how horrified he'd be if he woke up next to a naked woman.
Gay guys usually have mommy issues. You never mentioned your mother. How'd you get along with her?
She was totally under my father's control. I used to wish she would be more assertive and be someone who would stand up for Gregory, but
Sounds like she had very low self-esteem.
you're right.
Low self-esteem is like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
My own mother suffered from it. My father was a judge. She never felt like she could live up to his lofty standards.
Same with my mother.
Yeah, except for, unlike you, my father never imposed his will on me. I always stood up to him.
Daddy issues. That's something else we have in common.
Well, what about your father?
My father always wanted a son, and he made me very well aware of that. There were some complications with my birth that led my mom to be able to have any more children. My father always blamed me for denying him the opportunity to father a son.
Yeah, see, that is where your low self-esteem comes from. Victims who seek out torturers and abusers, they always suffer from low self-esteem.
I don't seek out torturers and abusers.
Maybe not consciously, but the signals you send out tell a different story. What about you? Married?
No.
Divorced?
No, never married.
That figures.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, you see, people with low self-esteem, they always bail on relationships when they can no longer handle being used as a punching bag. That or their partners get tired of using the same old punching bag and they seek out new victims.
You don't have much warmth in you, do you?
So unlike you, I don't choose to wear my vulnerabilities on my sleeve. It only attracts problems. It's one thing I learned from my father, if nothing else.
There's something else you picked up from your father, whether you acknowledge it or not.
Ooh, please tell me what.
You're very judgy. You obviously like to sit in judgment of other people just as your father did. You've been trying to judge me since the moment you set eyes on me.
That's not being judgmental. I'm merely observing facts. They would be obvious to anyone who's not lying. Everything I've said about you is true. You have virtually admitted it yourself.
You judged me as someone who wants to be victimized and abused. I can assure you that's not what I want with my life.
But you admitted that your father left you with low self-esteem.
Well, yeah, but...
Yeah, that's what people with low self-esteem do. They attract torturers and abusers.
Maybe, but not intentionally.
That is a matter of opinion.
And what's your relationship history? I bet you haven't been very successful in that department.
You think so?
I do.
Why?
Because you're an abuser and a torturer, and no one can put up with being used as a punching bag indefinitely.
Oh, no fair turning my words back on me like that.
But it's true, isn't it? You haven't been very successful in any relationship.
The difference is, it's almost always me who ends a relationship. I'm easily bored. And I just get tired of dealing with people's irritating habits. The way you squeeze the toothpaste or leave your cosmetic bag lying around the bathroom. Sitting around texting your friends all the time, but never putting anything back where it belongs. Quite frankly, I'm surprised any relationship can survive that obstacle course. Oh, unless of course the person is so desperate and afraid of being alone that they will cling to anyone and anything, never realizing that a true sense of loneliness is at its most intense when you are stuck with someone you were not meant to be with.
You may not be capable of it, but there are plenty of people out there happy in a relationship.
On the surface, maybe. Yeah, a lot of people play at presenting the facade of a happy family to the world. When, just beneath the surface, bubbles away tension. The first sign anybody knows about is when someone is suddenly running amok, turning to crime, drugs, or committing murder.
You're obsessed with murder.
No, I'm not. The facts speak for themselves.
I have to admit, my father always wanted us to be the picture of a perfect family. It's why he made sure that my mother and I behaved perfectly at all times, and punished us for any transgression of his rules.
There you go. And I'll just bet your family also tried to put on the happy face, when really your father resented you for not being a son, and your mother for never being able to give him one.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's no maybe about it. It's a certainty, but I bet they stuck together, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. At least my father never abandoned me like the fathers of so many of my friends did. There are just some times that I wished that...
Wished what?
Never mind.
No. It's your turn. Tell us.
Rather not tell you.
Why?
You use everything you know about people against them, being the kind of abuser you are.
I would bet what you were going to say was that you sometimes wished your mother would leave and take you with her so you didn't have to put up with your father's resentment anymore. Right?
No, you're wrong.
I don't believe you.
Think what you like, but the truth is actually quite the opposite of what you think.
The opposite of what I think. Really. That is interesting. So what you're saying is you wished your mother would leave so that you could be alone with your father. Of course, I should have realized it. You so desperately wanted your daddy's approval, and you thought the only way you could achieve it was if your mother was gone. That's what you wanted, right?
Like I said, think what you like.
I notice you don't deny it.
Would you believe me if I did?
No.
So then what's the point?
Tell me this. Weren't there times when you just deep down really, you just wanted to kill your mother so you could be alone with your daddy, have Oedipus, a little Oedipus in reverse?
I think it's time you stop picking on Alice.
So you're suddenly protective of her?
I was trying to overlook any unpleasantness. I bet you can dish it out, but you can't take it.
Are you threatening me?
Not unless you force me to get physical.
No one's forcing you to do anything.
Talked a lot about Alice's family. What about yours? You mentioned Oedipus. Is that your dark secret?
That idea repulses me.
I imagine it does. You obviously hate women.
Just because I see you for what you are?
No, you love to humiliate and abuse women. You hate women just probably because it all originated with you and your mommy.
Your attempts to psychoanalyze me are pathetic.
I notice you don't deny it.
Oh, you mean like you won't deny wanting to get rid of mommy so you can be with daddy?
What was your relationship with your mother like? We told you about ours. Tell us about yours.
There's not much to tell. She was virtually non-existent,
A weak woman?
if you like.
That's something all three of us have in common. Let's try to see what else we have in common. What kind of work does everybody do?
I'm a municipal compliance officer.
What does a municipal compliance officer do?
I make sure all the households in the community conform to the municipal standards.
What kind of standards?
Like it's the way they maintain their front yard, for example. Like the grass can only be a certain height, and they have to make sure all the shrubs and trees are trimmed properly every 5 years. They have to make sure that they put a fresh coat of paint on the house. I make sure all the households meet those codes.
That figures.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, that one serial killer, BTK, the guy who got his name because he bound, tortured, then killed his victims, he was a municipal compliance officer too. And he enjoyed being a petty little bureaucratic dictator, just as you obviously thrive on it.
Yeah, well, not a serial killer.
We only have your word for that.
Think what you like. But before you start throwing out innuendo and accusations at others, look at yourself. You think I hate women? It's obvious to me that you hate men, and it's really no surprise given how many have rejected you, including your father.
I don't hate all men. Just men who try to abuse and humiliate women. I don't hate Gregory here.
Bruce for now.
I don't hate Bruce or Nigel.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but you might not like some of my other personalities.
Like who? Cedric? I have nothing against gay people.
Yeah, what if you woke up naked in bed with him?
I think that's very unlikely to happen.
And even if it did, I think Cedric would be more horrified by the situation than you.
I'm not sure how to take that.
Anyway, aren't we getting a little off subject here?
What subject?
Well, we were talking about what we all do for work. And I can't imagine what kind of job you could possibly hold down when you're constantly changing personalities.
Well, you're right about it being difficult to find work. Well, not necessarily finding work, but actually holding down a job. Nigel and I can usually get to the point where we can be offered a job and sometimes even hold down the same job, but if Cedric or one of my other personalities shows up in front of someone who hired me or Nigel, it can get pretty confusing to say the least.
Can imagine.
Yeah. Unless it was a job where it was an advantage being gay. Hairdresser? Oh, women always seem to love their gay hairdressers.
You know, is there a chance we could meet Cedric? I would love to meet him.
I bet you would.
What is that supposed to mean?
Just peg you for a fat hag.
I warned you about that!
Okay. Don't be so hysterical.
Don't push your luck.
All right. Okay. So, what kind of job are you actually able to hold down?
I'm a software developer. I work at home. Nigel and Cedric can do the same job because we share the same knowledge.
Well, that's convenient.
Are you being sarcastic?
Not at all. There's the thought.
Anyway, I have my father's inheritance to fall back on.
You mean your evil daddy left you all his money?
He had no choice. I was an only child.
Same as me. Were you an only child? You know what? I bet you were.
Yes, I was. Not that it's any concern of yours.
It means we have something else in common.
So, what kind of work do you do?
I work in a funeral home.
How interesting that I should have a vision of you in a coffin.
What? Well, what kind of work do you do then?
I do the general presentation. I do all the hair and makeup for the open casket viewings.
Say, you don't happen to work at Thompson's funeral home on Upper Main Street, do you?
Yeah, I do. How'd you know that?
I had a vague sense I recognized you from somewhere. It must have been there. I must have seen you there.
When was this?
Were you involved with the funeral of Gwendolyn Lamb?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. How'd you know that?
Gwendolyn Lamb, wasn't she the one who was found mutilated in her home?
Yes, it was very tragic.
The police said it was one of the most brutal murders they'd ever seen. I developed software for her company.
They never did find her killer, did they?
No, he's still out there somewhere.
Unless he's dead.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. Just had a sense that he might have killed himself, that
Why?
he's dead.
Why would you think that?
I don't know. It's like a vision I got of you in a coffin. I can't explain it. I just had a vision of him killing himself out of remorse for what he'd done.
Your mind seems to wander down very dark paths. So, you actually knew Gwendolyn?
Not very well, just in passing.
But you felt obligated to go to her funeral.
Well, not obligated exactly, but I had met her, and I had some dealings with her. I just went to pay my respects, I guess you'd call it. I had met her, and she was a very nice woman. I liked her very much. I was very saddened by what happened to her.
And you think you saw me at her funeral?
Yes. Before you mentioned what you did for a living, I had this vague sense that I knew you from somewhere, and when you mentioned the funeral home, it all came back to me.
You know, I had a feeling I'd seen you before, too. Must have been the funeral home.
Well, it seems the three of us have nothing in common when it comes to what we do for a living.
Well, no, but there must be more to it. It can't just be some random coincidence that we're all here at the same place, at the same time, in the same situation.
Randomness is the nature of existence.
Well, I read somewhere that there are no such thing as random coincidences that have no meaning.
Carl Jung, synchronicity, all coincidences have meaning.
Do they?
Yes, so we just need to find out what we have in common, what's between us, what connects us all in being here.
Well, when you figure it out, Einstein, if you ever do, let me know. Now, I imagine your familiarity with Jung and all his theories comes from seeing so many psychiatrists to figure out why you're so crazy.
My knowledge of Jung comes from my own private reading on the subject. I gave up seeing psychiatrists once I realized that they're all crazier than I am.
That's one thing we can agree on.
So you just accepted your condition and learned to live with your different personalities?
I'm pretty comfortable with most of my personalities, but there's some I'm not too sure about.
Like who?
I don't really want to talk about it right now.
Alright, I'm gonna take a look around and see if I can find anything more substantial out about this place. Earlier you said that you didn't want me to leave you alone with this guy. You still feel the same way?
No, now I'd be more nervous being left alone with you.
Suit yourself. See you losers later.
Is it true what he said?
About what?
Asking him not to leave you alone with me?
I guess I might have said something like that.
So you were nervous of me?
Well, that was before I knew you.
Do you feel safe with me now?
I suppose so, now that I know you.
But you only know two of me, Nigel and Bruce.
Well, are there any others I should be worried
I'm
about?
not sure.
You're not sure.
I think there might be darker personalities lurking in my subconscious.
Do you
I think there are other dark figures around. I don't know who they are or what they're up to, but I can feel them there in the back of my mind.
Do you think they might be dangerous?
I usually have some idea of what my different identities are up to, but sometimes I black out and I don't remember what happens. I find myself in situations where there's time I can't account for. I wake up with a deep sense of guilt, and I can't figure out why, no matter how hard I try to rack my brain. I just feel like I've done something terrible. It's like it's all tucked away in a dark part of my brain I just can't shine a light into.
Should I be afraid?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not while I'm Bruce. Bruce is a protector. He'll protect you.
Well, are there any symptoms you feel before you change personalities?
Not when I change into the ones I know about. Sometimes just before I'll feel a little lightheadedness, but that's only lasts for a few seconds.
Okay, well what about before your blackouts? Any symptoms then? What? Yes?
I remember once I found my hands were raw, as if I'd been washing them very hard for an extended period. And other times I find myself in fresh clothes I don't remember putting on. And a couple times I woke up and found myself with cuts and bruises on my hands and arms. One time, I found a piece of cloth wrapped around my right hand. There was blood on it, but it was my blood. As if I'd sliced myself with a sharp knife, but I didn't remember it happening.
Do you remember what kind of cloth you used?
Why do you ask?
Just looking for clues. Could you have murdered someone?
I don't know. It's possible.
Is there a time you ever got that angry?
Well, I don't know. But sometimes I get a little irritated when people ask me questions I don't know the answer to, but never so angry
Okay,
that
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to badger you. I just thought if we could get to the bottom of this, then it would help the both of us.
Sometimes it's better to leave certain things alone, because you might discover things that you don't really want to find out.
Oh, God! No! I don't understand this. I just went around in a giant circle. It was dark. I could barely make out the road, but I know I stayed on it. I was headed away from this place the whole time, so how did I end up back here?
What's been going on with you two while I was away?
Just chatting. So your investigation has left you none the wiser about what we're doing here or why we're here?
I'm afraid not.
I've just been thinking. When we got here, none of us knew what had drawn us here or why we're here, doesn't that remind you of something?
Of what?
Well, doesn't it seem almost like a dream?
It's too real to be a dream.
Is it?
You're being ridiculous.
No. How would you explain the fact that we're here in the same situation, but none of us know who or what had sent us here? Does that kind of thing happen in real life?
Well, it's happening now, isn't it?
I'm not so sure. When I tried to use my phone earlier when I first got here, I had no service.
Maybe the battery's dead.
No, look, it's fully charged, but it's not the reception either. Every time I try to make the phone call,
Maybe the phone's faulty.
no, it was working before I got here. Do either of you have a phone on you?
Same thing, nothing.
How do you explain that?
I don't know. This is starting to feel like something out of the Twilight Zone.
Well, if it's a dream, then whose dream is it?
Well, it can't be yours, it has to be mine.
Why not?
Because I'm the only one who's been here the whole time.
How do you know?
Well, I showed up, and then Gregory came, and then...
Nigel,
Okay,
not
whatever.
Gregory.
Whatever. And then you showed up, but then Gregory left.
Nigel.
Okay, whatever. But I'm the only one who's been here the entire time, so it must be my dream.
It's not the way I see it.
Me neither.
How exactly do you see it?
I don't know. But I can tell you one thing for sure. I am not a character in somebody else's dream. I am real.
Me too.
How can you say that? You just admitted to having a number of different personalities and that none of them are real.
They exist.
Even though none of them are real?
They're real to whoever they happen to be at the time.
Like a lot of other people.
What are you talking about?
I mean, a lot of people pretend to be somebody they're not.
Speak for yourself.
You mean you never pretended to be somebody else?
I don't remember.
You're wearing a wedding ring. Earlier you were saying you were waiting for your boyfriend, the policeman.
That's different.
How? How is it different? You were pretending to be someone in a relationship with a policeman. In other words, you were pretending to be someone you were not.
I was just doing it to protect myself.
That's exactly what I do.
I rest my case.
So if this isn't a dream, then what is it?
You mentioned,
Where are we?
you mentioned the Twilight Zone.
Please, don't tell me you actually think we're in an episode of The Twilight Zone.
No, of course not. But maybe we're in some kind of Twilight Zone of our own. Some kind of anteroom between two different states of existence, just waiting to pass over into another state.
What if we're in hell?
Well, I don't see any fire and brimstone or a guy with horns on a pointy stick.
Hell isn't always fire and brimstone. I'm sure we all have our different definitions of hell. Mine is to be buried alive in a coffin.
Surprise, surprise.
I can do without your sarcasm.
What's the last thing you remember before coming here?
Why?
Well, if we can remember the last thing we were doing before we came here, it might help us to explain where we are and what we're doing here.
Good idea.
I don't remember.
Oh, come on, Michael. What's the last thing you remember?
I don't know. It's hazy. Work. I was working. I was visiting a house on Sycamore Lane.
I live on Sycamore Lane.
Really?
Yeah. What was the house number?
I don't know.
You don't know. You must remember. Come on, think. At least try.
I think it was 113.
That's my address. What else do you remember?
You opened the door. It was you. You were standing in the doorway.
What else do you remember?
Why, I told you why I was there. That I was a municipal compliance officer to see you about some code violations. But that's not really why I was there.
Why were you there?
I think I've said enough.
What?
I'm gonna go now.
Where are you going?
Anywhere.
No, last time you left, You showed up right back here with the rest of us. What makes you think that won't happen again?
Because I'm not needed here anymore.
What are you talking about?
You'll find out.
I wonder what his deal is.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
What?
What's the last thing you remember before coming here?
I don't know, just like Michael. It's all a little hazy. I remember leaving the funeral home, getting in the car, there was a big storm brewing outside.
It's an ill wind.
What?
Nothing. What happened next? Did you head home?
I did some shopping first. I went and got some groceries.
Did you remember someone ringing your doorbell?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. So I put down the groceries and I went to the door and... Oh my God, it was you. It was you at the door. It wasn't the funeral home that I saw you. It was you when you rang my doorbell.
Except it wasn't me.
What are you talking about? He looked like you. Matter of fact, he talked like you. It was you.
No. It was Michael.
That's impossible.
Remember when I told you that there were darker personalities lurking in my subconscious?
Yes?
Well, I've just begun to realize that Michael is one of them.
What?
I've also realized that Michael is the one that murdered both Gwendolyn Lamb and yourself.
What do you mean murdered?
Your mind probably blocked it out after you opened the door, which is probably just as well. You don't want to remember terrible things like that.
Are you saying that you, Michael, you did to me was done to Gwendolyn Lamb?
I'm afraid so.
So I'm dead.
In the earthly world, yes. You, me, Michael, Nigel, Cedric, we're all dead. That's what ties us together.
But you and Michael are different people. You were here at the same time. You looked different. You acted different. Your parents were different.
No, my father was also a judge. My mother was the same. We just looked on her differently. Nigel, Cedric, and I, we viewed her as weak, but we didn't despise her in the way that Michael did.
Well, Michael was a municipal compliance officer.
That was me when I was Michael.
But you're a software developer.
That didn't stop me from working at night when Michael wasn't on his municipal rounds.
It's just really confusing. You say we're all dead. What happened to you? How did you die?
Cedric killed us all.
Cedric, why?
After Michael finished his killing spree, Cedric took over. He found himself in Michael's clothes, covered in blood, holding a knife. You were lying dead on the floor.
You mean this happened in my house?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Cedric was so horrified by what had happened that he couldn't live with it, so...
So he killed himself.
Yes. You said this was confusing. I've had to deal with this confusion all my life.
Well, what happens now?
I just want to apologize for everything. If I knew what Michael was up to, I would have tried to figure out if he existed or not and prevent this.
How can you try to make amends after you hacked me to pieces in my own home?
I told you it wasn't me, it was Michael.
Oh, so you didn't know that one of your personalities was up to no good?
I suspected something, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't know that what was happening during my blackouts involved murder. I really am deeply, deeply sorry.
I've already told you.
Yes, I know, but I don't think I can find peace on this side of existence until I can make it up to you.
You're gonna have a long wait.
Even if it takes forever?
I need some time.
I understand.
This again. No more of your understanding. You should just go.
I'll go.
Hi.
Hi. I'm just waiting for my boyfriend. He's a policeman. He'll be here any minute now.
I'm sorry. Do I make you nervous?
Why do you ask that?
It's just volunteering all that information about your boyfriend, the policeman.
Just saying.
Something tells me that you're not waiting for your boyfriend, and he's not a policeman.
What makes you say that?
It just seemed you were worried that I might be a mugger or a rapist or something.
Don't be silly. You're not, are you?
What? mugger or a rapist?
Something.
Something?
Someone who might mean me harm.
Do I look like that mean you harm?
I don't know.
Well, if I was a mugger or a rapist, would I be standing here talking to you?
You could just be trying to lull me into a false sense of security.
I don't think that's what muggers and rapists do. As far as I'm aware, they don't start with conversation as a rule. They just kind of get on with their mugging and raping.
You could just be waiting to make sure the coast is clear.
Coast looks clear to me. You don't see me mugging or raping, do you?
Well, I'm glad about that, I suppose.
But I still make you nervous.
What are you doing here anyway?
Probably the same as you. Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Hi. Mind if I join you? Hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, you're not interrupting anything.
You sent here?
Yeah. You?
Who sent you?
Probably the same people who sent you.
Who?
I mean, you don't know who sent you?
No, of course I know who sent me.
So tell me.
I asked first.
I have a feeling neither of you knows who sent you.
Do you know?
Do I know who sent you? No, how would I know?
I'm asking if you know who sent you.
I don't know, that's what I'm waiting to find out.
I'm just gonna go take a look around and see if I can find anything else out about this place.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I have a feeling I know you from somewhere.
I can't imagine where.
Yes. I'm sure of it.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, indeed. You know what else I feel when I look at you?
No, I don't know.
A sense of eternity. Yes, a sense of eternity. I wonder why I feel that way.
I'm not sure.
Well, if we give it long enough, it'll come to me. And we have an eternity to find out, don't we?
Bye.